Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Having a little battle there for a few seconds, but it's finally opened up for me. Where we are. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, planet Earth. We had I saw a message last night on Skype or something like that, and it was pretty cool. You know, they were asking about that metaverse statement or title I gave to the webinar back in October of last year. Is it last year? Yeah, I guess it is, because October of this year is coming up. So it was kind of neat in the sense of, you know, somebody was looking at it thinking, what the heck has the metaverse got to do with Forex? And so then, you know, I kind of remembered vaguely, you know, so I actually listened to my webinar, you know, because I kind of remembered it, you know, from October with not much of a problem, but I was confused more than anything else as why there would be a question about the title. Metaverse Forex. It was a kind of a joke at the time because Evergreen in China was falling apart, the largest real estate market, and Nomura in Japan, the brokerage house, came out with a article calling, and I posted it on the webinar. So I was kind of surprised that someone would ask, but did not. If they watched the webinar, they'd have a general idea. And Nomura, I showed the article about Nomura referring it to an avatar market, and then basically avatar being metaverse. You know, basically the same thing. Avatar and metaverse, pretty much the same thing. And so it was kind of like combined together, a metaverse type of, you know, so they were looking at a physical three-dimensional market, you know, a three-dimensional element, you know, property, and how, you know, China fell apart again. China, you know, unfortunately, they keep on making China sound like it's the next, you know, America or something. You know, it always confuses me, and it's like a colony to us basically, and it's not, you know, it's not really a very productive country. And so, you know, they have a fixed currency, and they only trade 2.5% of their currency a day, and, you know, things like that. I mean, the world does. So, I mean, I'm always confused, and they always say it's the second largest economy, when we all know that the second largest economy is the European Union. It's over 21 trillion. And so I'm always confused by that. So, anyway, last year, Evergreen fell apart for something really, pittance. In other words, such little money. It was amazing how little money basically crushed, you know, Evergreen. And every time I show something on the webinar here, because we're all in the financial side trying to figure out, you know, what that pyramid of China, how to figure out the values there. You know, we're always trying to hunt down the values, make sure something is not overvalued or undervalued. In the case here is we think that China is enormously overvalued. Hey, Titus, how you doing? So someone asked about the metaverse title of Metaverse of Forex. Back in October 10th, I guess it is, the webinar, and of 2021. And so then it kind of reminded me of, you know, I listened to my own webinar, and I heard myself rambling about, like I usually do, talking about different things and being kind of crazy as usual. And then, but I mean, the real key to this webinar is why would anybody want to watch it? You're going to hear up-to-date, real information, and, you know, real information, valued information. And you're going to see state-of-the-art charts beyond like 99% of the charts that are outstanding out there, that type of thing. And we have the J4X, which you're seeing right there is the dollar index. And over on Chicago Quant, we have an oil index, because I was just oil stocks. I was just looking at them. And let's put the currencies up there. And even the J4X indicators that we've put together is well beyond MACD and RSI. You know, way more successful. And we've talked about how the Market Technicians Association considers like the RSI and you know, and MACD as leading indicators, and stochastics as a lagging indicator. Well, the way we use it and the way we have it set up, it's a super leading indicator. It's much more efficient. Metho 2000, what's happening? So so I read, I went back and looked at the webinar and saw everything and listened to it for an hour. And, and if you're not watching the charts and looking at the numbers that we're pointing out all the time, then obviously it must be confusing, And so when you tune into a webinar that says the metaverse of Forex, that's what we were talking about at the time. In other words, we're thinking about, the Japanese yen against the dollar. We're thinking about the Chinese yuan against the dollar, and how it is a two-dimensional creature compared to at least the yen and the dollar and even the ruble. There are three-dimensional type products. I mentioned that. I thought I mentioned that somewhere in the beginning of that webinar too. That they're three-dimensional. But when you have a fixed currency, it's not really three-dimensional, it's two-dimensional. So it really goes into the category of like a holograph, or a metaverse in my head, mathematically. Hey, Robin. So that's how we got to the metaverse title. And it all came down to because of Nomura, the largest brokerage house in Japan, and Evergreen, the largest property company in China. One talked about it as a metaverse, an avatar. The other one, China, was not able to defend its largest real estate company. It only could bail out the locals or something like that. The Chinese couldn't bail out the rest of the world, which again makes China like a two-dimensional entity, or a avatar, or in the case of Nomura, they said an avatar or a metaverse. So that's where we came up with that. So I just thought I'd make that clearer in verbiage. I typed it over to Janos, and and said what I said to use just now. So that's what it is. I think that's interesting, in a sense of, and in this morning, there's always more news out there, and different information. Like this morning, I saw some interesting headlines, and I mean, to start off with, you have the we're looking at the dollar, and the dollar went into a daily buy there yesterday. Bonds went bananas. We saw the 10-year U.S. Treasury bond was trading at 2.50 when I started the webinar yesterday. Last night, it settled at 2.71. I mean, talk about, they jacked that puppy. They were selling it. They weren't buying it. They were buying it in the morning. Once Mrs. Pelosi landed in China, Illinois, Taiwan, basically, we had that thing change direction in a pretty dramatic way. So the world was actually nervous about the Chinese. I kind of think of them as more like an avatar or a metaverse. I don't find them totally real. I find them to be... In Texas, they like to say, all hat and no cattle. And people around the Missouri area are, like to say, I'm from Missouri. Tell me, show me. Show me state. So to me, the first statement out of China was, we're going to shoot down her plane. It's like, right. You're really going to try. Like as if they have I don't even think they have the capabilities to shoot down an American plane to begin with. But that's besides the point. I'm sure that even a broken clock is right twice a day. So obviously they probably have a chance somewhere along the line. Problem is the other rest of the day is going to be in the negative. So they didn't shoot the plane down. She landed. Then they do some live fire about 12 miles out in the ocean. Just a bunch of children. It came to me more than anything else as I started to realize. Can you imagine? We think Mr. Biden is incompetent. But if the Chinese can't beat Mr. Biden, or the Russians can't take Ukraine with Biden in charge, oh my God, how incompetent is the leadership of Russia or China? Because basically, if they can't dominate Biden, it's like every trader tries to analogize. We try to arbitrage. There's a word called arbitrage. We try to find This we can buy and sell it there higher, or we can short it there and buy it cheaper. And it's the same thing. Well, if China can't outsmart Mr. Biden and Russia can't outsmart Mr. Biden, what's it say about China's abilities and Russia's abilities? Because pretty much Biden is polling anywhere from the high teens in some communities to literally like he's polling in the 30s with his own Democrats. We think he's a numbnut. We think he's stupid. And he can't, and the Chinese and the Russians can't outsmart him? Oh my God. I've never thought about that before until someone asked me to look at the metaverse situation I'd done, a couple of days ago. So, I mean, it's, it's cool, It really, it makes me laugh. Looks great. I'm answering a text here. There we go. So, yeah, I never thought about that. How about that, Robin? What do you think of that one? And, basically, that's where it kind of stands, really. I don't have much more to say about that. Talking about metaverses, boy, if the Chinese and the Russians can't outsmart Biden, what's it say about them? Is that something? I guess, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. The army too. Well, I would be embarrassed, if I was, if anybody who has any level of competency, he's the shoemaker. I don't even think he could. I don't know if he knows how to swing a hammer. I don't think Biden knows what a tack is. Shoemaker, I wouldn't even give him a shoemaker. I think Biden is. We used to call politicians like that. He's just a pretty face. That's pretty much it. I think that's all you can say about the whole thing. Anyway, let's get back to the markets. And this is about the markets. We're looking for an arbitrage. We're trying to understand prices. We're looking for price discovery. We talk about this here all the time. I mean, that's where our heads are at. That is where our heads are at. Anyhow, where are we at here? Let's take a look at this now. There's the dollar. You see the dollar is lifting up. What is that? That's on a monthly. Okay, let's get back to the daily on that. There's the daily. It's lifting up today there. You can see that. I know that we closed in the daily buy yesterday in the dollar index. At least at one point it was a green line. It was a green line somewhere along the line. It's in there now, I guess. That's it. Okay. So what is that? That's Friday. That's Tuesday. Something's wrong with that. Where's Monday? We're missing a day in there now. Just so we can fix that. Now, I saw yesterday the euro went back into the sell. There it is. It closed in a daily buy yesterday. Right there. Now, I saw the euro. Now, the only one that seemed to survive, everything got washed a lot yesterday. So, let's take a look at like the different products out there and get a flavor of it. But there it is. It went into the daily buy yesterday, right there. And we're still in that weekly buy, and you can see it on our work, in the Chicago quant stuff. Still in that weekly buy. It's not giving up anything. And as much as they try to sell it down, they try to talk it down. It doesn't seem to go anywhere. Chow mein bombs. Yeah. Biden is the shoemaker. Well, you're giving him a compliment as far as I'm concerned. Your shoemakers, I always think of as intelligent individuals with ability. It does. The Constitution. I was saying that yesterday to a friend of mine, that even as much as they're trying to sabotage it, and the left is being crazy, and all that stuff, in the end result is that the Constitution is saving us. Basically, that's what it comes down to. All right, let's take a look at the euro. There's the euro. It went into a sell there yesterday, right there. We're in that weekly sell, and it doesn't seem to want to give up. And I guess a lot of this action here, this stuff like right here, must have been the paranoia of China. I just don't know why everybody takes China so serious. That's the odd part. They have nuclear weapons. We have nuclear weapons. They have jet planes. We have jet planes. I mean, they have 1 billion people. We have nuclear weapons. What's the difference? You know what I mean? None of it makes any sense. Why? Why do people pretend that China is the second largest economy in the world when we know it's the European Union? Matter of fact, I saw where they were. Just a side note. I saw where they were selling. What were they doing? Let me think now. Basically, it confounds me. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. The bonds. Check this out. What the ECB was doing right there. ECB bought lots of Italian government bonds and sold lots of German bonds to reverse spread blowout. I mean, the European Union in many ways is all over the place, but it's definitely got a floating currency. See, in other words, no matter how bad they are, concept-wise, and no matter how ridiculous they do things, in the end result, but no matter how ridiculous they are, in the end result is that they have a floating currency, and China doesn't. And so I can't take China too serious as an economic power until they float their currency. And then, and everything shows me that they're like a colony to us. And what really bothers me is the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is 2 billion people. Just because they're not one country, but they're part of Great Britain and so forth, and the old colonies and so forth, and however you want to look at it, you got Canada and Australia and New Zealand and Nigeria and South Africa and Kenya and England and it's just Jamaica, Belize. It's fascinating. You're very productive countries, and their income level's higher, and they're more productive, and they're not trying to take over the world. Through smoke and mirrors. It's a whole different thing. It really confuses me. So this all is instigated by that question about metaverse and forex, and it really comes down to that. And in the end result is that I guess what it comes down to more than anything else is that no, I don't want to do that. There we are. Get rid of that. I guess what really comes down to is that in this case here, you can see cable. Cable almost got into the sell yesterday, but lifted up, and that's really one of the powerhouses in the Commonwealth. Their currency floats, and I'd imagine pretty much all the rest of the currencies in the Commonwealth float. And so it really confuses me when we see this all the time. It really does. It's just an odd situation. All right, let's get away from that and just keep on marching now through the products. Anybody want to see anything, just shout it out, and we'll go after it. And there's cable, and you can see there. And let's put over here. Let's put up first. I'll put up the where's it at? Right, the euro. Let's put the euro up on there too. There's the euro. Little sneeze there. So there we go. And you can see there, it's kind of vacillating in a sideways action. Doesn't seem to have a lot of push to it. And then let's jump over to right there. Let's see. There's the British pound. And you don't see much action out of that, except for it tried to roll over. It tried. You can say it tried. You can see it's at the top end of Mr. Bollinger's bands. You can see our work is trying to break down. It's been trying to break down since the green line heading south. But look at the weekly. The weekly is playing, with the buy right there. You can see that, just playing with it. No, not that. There we are. Punch it in there. Let's just punch that in there. Now, from there, let's see what else we got going on. Let's go over to the Turkish lira. I don't see anybody asking for anything particular. Chow mein bombs. Funny. Let's see what the dollar Turkish lira looks like. I bet that jumped over 18. That had to jump over 18. Oh, yeah. What's the high there now? No, it still missed it. So 4 days back, it jumped over 18 to 180376. But yesterday, it got to 179596. And now today, it's trading. The high is 9.8. So, So that's pretty much the action we're seeing there. So I wonder what they're doing with the euro to it. Let's see what they do to the euro. And we'll tune it in on J4X too. Let's see what the euro looks like there against the Turkish lira. Bingo. Just a little dip down. It's been trying to run up. You see that strength. You see it's been a little confused, dropping underneath. But it just keeps on pushing up. I mean, look how tight it is here on the Chicago Quant. You can see the regular bars. Just days on almost the same price across. It's really staying tight. It did slip into the sell yesterday, right there, and it's trying to climb back into the buy today. The weekly is very leaky and just kind of cruising on the edge of falling into a sell, but nothing so far. And it's an interesting product too when you really think about it that way. Is that the Turkish lira against the euro is so much more a real currency, and the dollar Turkish lira is so much more like an index. It really does. It trades and acts like an index. And that's pretty much what the answer to that whole thing is in the end. Is that they trade the euro Turkish lira because it's proximity. Everything is right there. You got most of Europe sitting on the doorstep of Turkey. Whereas the United States, we're so far away from Turkey. And they don't have that. But I don't think they have too much. I mean, I don't think I can remember the last time I saw something from Turkey. But I'm sure I have. There's probably fruits and vegetables and, probably some type of candies and so forth. But overall, I just don't see that more than anything else. That's usually the way it rolls in the end. All right, from there, as you can see, that we go from there to the Canadian. So let's see what the Canadian's up to today. Put it up on J4X. I would think the Canadian is gaining against the dollar because the oil is moving up today pretty aggressively. Right there. CAD is being shown, but see over here it says CAD is down, so we'll see. And that's what I would think it would be. Yeah, it's down. Still in a buy. Went into the buy yesterday, but it's down. But it's in the weekly sell, so it's a neutral for us. You can't be long with that buy. You can only be flat. It's the only safe thing. Now, let's see what else we got going on here. From there, what we normally do is we take a look at the energy complex, crude oil. Like I said, it's up today, so I had a general idea that Canadian should be. You can see it right there. The high today is 96.57, and we are trading at. We don't have the marker on. Let's get that marker on. Style. Last price. not line. Where's the price marker at? It's around here somewhere. I want the price. All right, we'll just cancel that out. You can see it right there above in the green. 96.38, and we're looking at 57. So it's only like 21 cents under. Now it's what's it, about 19 cents underneath the high of the day. So they are stepping up a little bit in there. There is a headline I saw which was kind of cute. Something about a fist pump or something and Biden. No, that's not it. It's not the 70s. Let me see where it's at. There it is. No, it was a good one. Here it is. There we go, right there. Oil surges after OPEC Plus shuns Biden's proposed output hike for ants. I don't understand what that is, but and the end result is that, as I said to you when he was going there to beg for it, I said that maybe they would give him 100 or 200,000. Oil prices are spiking in the morning. Agreed on a modest 100,000 barrel a day increase in output for September. Yeah, that's what I figured. Considerably less than the 300,000 or 400,000 increase expected by many, hoped for by Biden. So that's and they had a picture of it. Where was it at? It was like him fist pumping the prince, and so they're basically saying what a waste of time it is for him to go there, That's pretty much what it comes down to. All right, from there we jump over to the South African rand, right there, and that's going to tell us what gold is up to, and right there, and you got there. You see that it's up, so that means gold must be down. I guess that's what it is. You see that move yesterday went into the buy, so let's go take a look at gold. And all right, I saw that at one point. We almost got into a sell on gold yesterday. Yeah, he took it down hard yesterday, but not hard enough. Yeah, he slammed it down. And then you can see it's still up in here. But that weekly, notice the weekly here? It cannot get going. They're trying. And, Rob and I have been watching that silver market. We keep on thinking that there's buyers out there. We keep on thinking that late September, maybe going into October, we see some strength in the metals complex. But right now, we're not really seeing that. We really don't see that. Let me just check something. Yeah, so I mean that's really the crust of it all, I guess you could say, is we just don't get that action that we really try to see, and it doesn't seem to happen in the end result. All right, from there we jump over to let's see what's going on over here too. Let's put the South African rand on J4X. Right there. And that's trying to tell us again that it's lifting up, which means normally would be that gold would be trying to go down. Now in this case here you can see it's very small. And you can see right here at the same time in ours, it's not breaking down hard. I have a hard time, with when you see all the things that are going on and the inflation, you just gotta shake your head and say, something's, got to change. Let's put it that way. All right, from there, let's jump over to the Japanese yen. And there's the yen. It's sold. It's been in a sell since here, and we're in a weekly sell since there, and it's rolled over from here, and now we're flirting around with a possible buy. It's got a volatility signal kicking out right there. And let's see. Oh, here we go. Metho says all assets follow the Fed. Yeah, see, that's it. They are the buyer of last resort now because they are leveraged. The assets are the Fed. The Fed is not leveraged as much as you think it is. It's just way, way out of control. But remember, in the end result, they are just guaranteeing stuff in paper. That's all they're doing in the end. So in other words, when you buy U.S. bonds, they're going to pay you back in dollars. Right now, the dollar is the strongest product on the planet. So basically, it's paper in the end result. It's not like they give you gold or something like that. Something that you could, something more tangible. I would say that when you say 3 times daily leverage, you're saying that the assets themselves, yeah, but not the Federal Reserve itself, not the central banks. I think that's the whole. I think that's the reason why we see them stay inside ranges, and so ranges, and they stay consistent and constant and sideways. They run to the top of the range, they come back down to the bottom of the range. I think that is really what's going on here, is that they have an envelope. Silver 3 times daily. Oh, you're looking at the product itself, the ETFs. I see. Yeah, well, in the end, paper. They call it paper gold and paper silver. No, there's the stuff that's traded on the exchanges, and then the physical trade's way different than the exchange traded stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm in total agreement with you, but the central banks themselves now control the markets every day. It used to be they would control them from a distance every 3 months or 4 months or half a year. Now they control them every hour, every minute. They control the markets now. It never lets go. No money, all assets go down. No money, all assets go down. You mean no buyers? So in other words, if they don't have buyers, products fall. Yeah, I agree with that. We had somebody in here yesterday. They were talking about the idea that the dollar. How do they phrase it? They said that the reason the dollar goes up is because of oil. And then I kind of said, not the demand in oil. That's what. And I was like, no, not really. It's the demand and the inventory. Let's see, Senate race, Arizona. I'm trying to think. And so, it's a real, demand. We had a really good conversation yesterday about this. Demand and markets. No demand, no markets. That's what they said, which makes total sense. I agree with it. But the thing is that they also said they thought that the dollar was strong only because of oil. And it's like, no, dollar's been strong without oil. I think the dollar is strong because there's no other game in town. That's the problem. Something us, real American traders, are not happy about. We don't like the idea that the dollar is always running around towards all-time highs. We want a weaker dollar because we want more commerce here. Buying stronger dollar means we have outflows of dollars. We want money coming into America, not going out. And that's what the problem is that a strong dollar forces people to buy more things outside the United States. Dollar is strong because of QT. Yes, exactly. No, QE. The dollar is strong because of QE, not QT. Ah, there's a crazy girl. Mrs. Pelosi departing Taiwan. And nobody shot down her airplane. She's on Air Force 3, I think it is. I can't believe they couldn't shoot her down. What kind of military does the Chinese have? They can't shoot down a simple airplane. I guess they shouldn't have said they were going to do it to begin with. That's what it really comes down to. Why make a statement like that and not do it? QT, quantitative tightening, would mean that they're taking money out of the market. And I would think that the dollar would weaken from that, not get stronger. Because that means they're selling. And if they're selling dollar-denominated assets, then you got to assume that dollar would go down in value. See what I'm saying there? 2000. And that's the concept there. But anyway, it was a really interesting. Oh, look! I see it. What just came in there, Robin? Let's see what that is. Nah, that didn't do it. Why don't I see that? View. Hey, are you thinking what I'm thinking? I like that. That's pretty good. I'll show you what Robin sent over. There we are, right there. So yeah, I mean that's what it really comes down to, is that if it's not QT, it's QE that does it. Because if the because of what I just said. All right, from there, where are we at now? That's the yen. So let's jump over to the last one, the south of the border. Let's check out the Mexican peso. Right there. There we go. And you see there that the Mexican peso has been moving up the last couple of days. And you can see it there. What a spike yesterday was, huh? And let's widen that out a little bit. And we're still in that weekly buy. And it just keeps on marching along. You can see that there. The pressure is on. Now today they are taking it back down, but they did push it up to the 0.618. Or 0.618. Yeah, 618. 61.8. Sorry about that, traders. When I was listening to my webinar, I did notice that sometimes I fumble over numbers like that. Like that. I said 0.76 and I went like, oh, I mean 0.78. 78 is an extreme that R and Elliott came up with. In other words, when you break the 7.8, usually gets slammed. A little sip of water here. There we go. So, that's it with the currencies, unless someone else wants to see something, and we'll go hunt it down. Let's jump over to the rest of the metals complex. So there's silver. Now silver is flirting with the daily sell today. You see they've dipped it down. And the pressure is on that product. But the weekly is holding up. We got the weekly trying to hold up. So that's pretty cool. And we really do. We're big fans of cheering on. Can you imagine? This thing has gone from 18 to 20 in about 4 weeks. That's a pretty good jump, That's a good, clean 10%. And we've been talking about this for a week and a half about buy the silver, sell the gold. We were saying, we were getting close to that low, extreme in there. And, it's been a good jump. It's been a very good jump. All right, where else are we now? From there, we jump over. Oh, let's put it up on J4X too. Right there. And you get the same little red thing going on just like here. Right there. See the green line is pierced. Pressure is on. But our weekly is looking pretty good. Let's see what the weekly looks like on silver on J4X. And that is that, I guess you could say. You see it's trying to lift up 2 green weeks in a row now. We got the green line piercing up, and it's been trying to go. It's trying to get going there. Not bad. Not bad at all. Since we were in a buy, basically. Since a daily buy, I guess. Something back there. Right there. All right. From there, we'll go over to copper. See what copper's up to. There's copper. Let's get it up on the screen here. There it is right there. You can see it's flirting with some pressure on the downside. Again, we're stuck in that weekly sell now since back in the $4 area. So things gone down to $3 or close to it, I guess. What was it? There's the low of 317. So it was like a 22% drop, 23% drop, something like that. Pretty tough bang, And let's see, what's today? Today's Wednesday, so we can take a look at platinum again. We try to do it Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And there's October platinum, which closed in a weekly buy last week. And there it is right there. And it's still lifting along, having its weakness today. And it's gotten as high as 915. Okay. Coming from 850-ish area. It's been a daily buy since here, I guess. So we're seeing, platinum has confirmed that there's some buying going on, which is cool. And that's where we are. We are there. So from there, we jump over to the energies. See what the energies are up to. Put Brent in there. There's Brent. You can see there, Brent's been, showing the weakness. It's over the century mark, though. And it's up at the moment. And there it is right there. There's our spot of September. It's come down off the highs. I mean, it was at 96.57 when we started the webinar. It was trading around 40, 96.40, 96.35 area. And now it's trading at 95.11. So it's dropped $1 and change since we started the webinar. Still in the daily sell. And we're still in that weekly sell. And it doesn't seem to want to let go of that either. And what else? What's left out of this? Let's go to natural gas. And you can see there, pretty much flatlined, still in the sell a little bit, but look at that. It's trying to play with the weekly buy with no problem. Let's see what natural gas looks like over in J4X. There it is right there. Same way. Been selling off. And let's see what the weekly looks like. Right there. You see that pressure there. So it's been trying to lift also. Only difference is that we're just starting to get into it. It's been in there for 3 weeks. And, it's been an interesting move. I mean, when you go back 3 weeks, that's where that daily buy was there. It ran up, topped out. We were stuck in the sell. So at least you're not short out of that whole move. Then we go into a sell here, and you're back into the saddle again on the sell side. Now we are flirting with the weekly buy, so it should be like neutral city. What is this garbage? Go away. And so from there, what do we have left? We have European natural gas. Let's see where that is. I saw it this morning. I did look. I was curious when I saw everything else moving. And I quickly tuned in just to see. It was trading around 28. Let's hope it's at 27 and change. Right. Where are you? It's around here somewhere. It's very close. I think that's it right there. Yep, trading at 28 basically. Just a shade of it, Where else are we now? From the natural gases, I guess we can go take a look at stock indices. Anybody want to see anything particular? If not, we'll just do the stock indices. Here we are. Let's go over to the stock indices. The S&P 500 right there, it is in a plus, is playing with the sell as we speak, but the weekly buy is there. And I guess the scare So I guess they've calmed down. I guess the Chinese threatening to shoot down the plane, and they didn't do it. Maybe it's waking up some people. I don't know. What else can we say about that? Let's take a look at the intraday. No one's chiming in this morning, so I have to head over to there. I'm getting texted left and right from a few people. So let's do this. There's the intraday. And it's been since the webinar started. Well, that's Europe. Ever since Europe got going this morning, you can see it's been finding a way to go up. Now, it's kind of plateaued here, since the webinar started. The webinar started right there. And it's kind of ran up a little bit higher, then backed off, and it's kind of hanging. Not a lot of aggressiveness, but nothing bad. And then what else can we say about any of it at this point? I guess the big thing is that as much as they rallied strong last month, the stock indices, they are still down pretty aggressively. Like the Nasdaq is down like 20% for the year still. The Dow is something like down, I don't know, like 10%. The S&Ps are down like around 12%, something like that. So, in the end result, it's probably it's good. You know what I mean? And the end result is that the stock market should be, the stock market should be this way. I mean, you're talking about 9% inflation. Pretty much stocks are a hedge for the first part until sales start to drop and earnings start to drop. And once that it starts to drop, then you have the earnings dropping, and that's usually the mother's milk of equities. That's where money starts to back away because they're seeing less value in something, and they invest that way. That's how they invest. In the end result is that you can see that's what it is. You can see just sideways action. I guess when the U.S. market opens up, we'll see where it goes from there. Now let's take a look at, we'll go back to the big daily chart again like that. And then let's take a look at the Nasdaq 100. You can see the same thing. Matter of fact, we can actually get rid of the red line there. It's acting very strong. Now that's been sold down the most. So since that's been sold down the most, there's a good reason, it should be lifting much more aggressively, and it is. It's doing a fine job. So that's the daily, and the weekly. You can see the weekly is not. They're not backing off on that. There's no real calamity, and I say this when people follow the when the people follow the what is I'm looking for again? When they follow the I can't remember what it was. I guess it's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and they measure the whole marketplace by that. It's not that bad. But again, it shouldn't. They should be selling it because of the inflation. Earnings are starting to show some weakness, not a lot, but some, and money has to back off. The funds have to slow down on their investment. Now let's take a look at that. The Nasdaq on a day-to-day, intraday basis. And there it is right there. And you can see here, same situation. It started off in Europe down in here, and they've taken it from 12,900 up to almost, 13,016. So, and what was the low again? The low there was like 900 basically. So, 100 and some odd points back up again. Now, yesterday at the end of the day, they sold everything down due to, I'm not even sure. I understand programs came in and started selling really hard the treasury bonds here in the States. And that put a scare into the stock market, because bonds follow stock markets. So, that was part of the push down. Now today, here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and you can see it's up 152 points. It sold down 300 something yesterday. It's trying to lift, but nothing too miraculous at the moment. And you can see where it was when Europe started. It was here, and now it's moved up from basically the 12,440 area to up to 12,500. So it lifted up. That's 560. So it lifted up about 120 points since the European Open. Now let's jump over and take a look at that on an intraday basis. Let's look at the bar, the actual bar itself, on a daily and weekly. Right there. Now that slipped into a sell yesterday, and it's acting still weak here, but is trying to lift. But the weekly is holding on with no problem there. And again, I'll default, as I've said to Robin and I've talked about this over and over again. I'll default to the idea that until we get close to the election, I really have a hard time believing that there'll be nibbling. I think there's more upward than downward, but I think it's going to find a way to go sideways more than anything else. I don't think markets have that much of a desire to get that aggressive. And that's where it's at. Someone just posted something to me. Pelosi visits Taiwan and Chinese promises a fireworks welcome. And they did. Here is another one. Pelosi leaves Taiwan after speaking with Taiwan president, reported. And Pelosi said America stands with Taiwan. SOS walked that back. I'm sure somebody in the White House probably said something. Let's see. Remember, she's third in line to be president of the United States if something happened to the first two. So the president and vice president, she would be president. So, and she's the Speaker of the House. She controls the checkbook. The president can't write a check for nothing. Can't spend any money without her. So, I don't know. I'm not sure what the Chinese are thinking. All right, now, matter of fact, if they shot her down, there was a good chance there might be more Democrats on that plane. They could have put the Republicans right in power by shooting that plane down. I didn't even think about that. So the Chinese want to put the Republicans in power, I guess. All right, from there, what else we got going on? I guess that's about it. I guess that's the end of the stock indices. Now, what's left for us to look at? We haven't looked at that I think I want to look at, and I keep on thinking in many days when we talk about it. Let's look at the Russell 2000. Now, the Russell 2000 made an all-time high back in November of last year, up around the 2400 area, something like that. I think that's what it was. Right up in there. 2400 area right there. Can you see that? Let's see if we can see that. Right there. And they've taken it down to 1600, which is a pretty big drop. And now we're moving back up. And it's a possibility we will see this thing get back into the 2000s. It's hard to say, but money, this is the most speculative side of the financial markets here in the equity market, that is. So, this could be a good sign, seeing this thing trying to lift. Now, what do we got from here? Let's go to, let me see. What's left? I guess that's about it. I guess we're going to call it a day. We have to have a title for this, and I don't know if I'm going to use metaverse at all, but I think that one thing is very clear, and that is that Forex fixed and live trading is important to markets. In other words, demand and you have markets. No demand, you have no market. So that visitor yesterday in the webinars was basically saying China has no demand, so there's no real market there. And that's pretty much what it all comes down to in the end. What should we call this today? I'll have to come up with some title. If anybody has an opinion, throw it up on the chat line. But if not, we will call it a day, and I'll have to figure that out myself. So, happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be Thursday tomorrow. Happy trails to you, to our Dukascopy friends. Later, traders. Auf Wiedersehen.